Hey guys, Matt and Eric here. We're going to talk about last night's Lost episode called Lighthouse. Eric, what did you think of Lighthouse?
I thought it was pretty cool. You know, it wasn't as great as last week's, but there was still some interesting reveals, and I was really happy that we finally caught up with Claire on the island.
Crazy Island Claire with the rifle and the stringy hair. Now, there are parallels between Claire now and Russo, living alone, setting traps. But when Russo thought that the others had her kid, the others actually had her kid.
Yeah.
So Claire is definitely a little more crazy, a little more of a maniac than Russo even was, even though she was crazy too. And Claire comes complete with a special new friend.
Yeah, she has the man in black who comes into there at the end, and not only does she know him, she knows he's not Locke. And
Yeah, she doesn't have a problem with that either.
yeah, so you're wondering, for 3 years now, has he been there manipulating her? What has he sort of made her think, and what mission is he setting her on?
And the episode was also called Lighthouse, and there was a lighthouse.
Yeah, and that was really interesting because we got this other list of sorts. Last week we had the cave, this week in the lighthouse was a list of names. At a glance you think it's the same list, same people, but there are some subtle and important differences.
Yeah, some of the people have different numbers than the cave list.
Yeah.
So you start to wonder, was the cave list, since he was crossing out the name Locke, did that one belong to the man in black? Was it not Jacob's list after all?
Right. And I think the big question, of course, again, is Kate. She was so conspicuous by her absence last week on the cave list, and now she is on the list in the lighthouse.
And also, who's number 108?
Yeah.
That's who they were trying to bring to the island. Is it Desmond? Is it Widmore?
Or some brand new character.
Taller Ghost Walt? Yeah,
Taller
we have
Ghost
no
Walt.
idea. This episode also had a great flash sideways with Jack. There weren't as many callbacks to old characters in this flash sideways, but there was a totally new character that didn't exist in his life before.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest change we've seen yet in the Flash Sideways is the existence of Jack's son, David. And it was an interesting story because it paralleled the season 1 episode White Rabbit, also about Jack dealing with Jack's daddy issues, a recurrent theme in the show. But again, putting Jack on a better path. This seems to be something in the Flash Sideways. People end up better than they were.
He could overcome his baggage in the same way Locke did. And
Yeah.
they went out of their way, too, not to show who this boy's mother was. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of speculation there.
Yeah, it could be Sarah, who we know to be Jack's ex-wife in the original timeline, but you've got to wonder, if they didn't tell us, it might be someone bigger, and I think a lot of us are wondering about Juliet.
Yeah, Juliet's a great candidate for this role. I'd say.
I get it.
But listen, we want to know what you guys thought about this episode. Send your feedback, as always, to IGNTV at IGN.com. Phil?
Hey,
What's
Phil.
up, guys?
What's up, Phil?
I'm clearly in my workman gear, ready to talk about Lost. Let's do it.
Talk about Lost.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of
think,
geeky.
I think you're mistaken,
You're
man.
kind of geeky.
No.
We were talking about sports.
Yeah, a big sports
that's-
conversation.
That's awesome because Lost tends to talk about sports too. Like that one episode where Dogen was in the temple and he had that baseball, right? Baseball has 108 stitches. Reference. And they also play ping pong. I mean,
So
it's really
thanks
like-
again. Please send us emails
And
with
they
your
also play
thoughts,
golf.
and we'll
Golf
see you
is really
next week to
cool.
talk about
When I
last
played that
night's
one guy I never
Lost.
saw again, and I wish I could play golf. And then, and then there was that one time where they were playing football with Tom.